So good evening, dear colleagues, especially John, Darwin, Mike, Pupius, Ruth. I don't remember your last name. You will tell us.
Yeah,
And
Lise.
Mike, please.
Ruth
Lise.
Lise. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And Alison Allison. You are our speakers for tonight, and we are enchanted that you have worked on mindfulness as we age. It's wonderful to know that you have a very stable theoretical foundation, but you've also got a lot of experience in delivering this program. I will leave it to you to introduce in detail the group you are and the program you have created. Wait, I'm distracted because someone asked for, I will pin this. Here you can already see the model that has been used, and our colleagues will talk about that later. So it is an honor that you are here. You are finalists or even winners of the Innovation in Mindfulness Award, granted by the Mindfulness Initiative and the No Trust Fund. So we are very honored that you come here and share this with you. We have people here who also work with mindfulness and what they call seniors, among others, Eugenia, and maybe others here. So we really hope that you will share your experience and that we can learn from each other. eamba Exchange is the events branch of eamba. For those of you who are here for the first time, eamba connects mindfulness teacher associations all over Europe. And meantime, we also have members in Israel, with Lebanon, Turkey, in South Africa, and in the United States of America, and more people who want to join us. So it's not so European anymore. It's rather turning into global. And this means that in the first instance, we support these associations who are eamba members. And secondly, we support the teachers who are connected in those local associations. Here in eamba Exchange, everyone is welcome. And new people who are not yet a member of an association, please connect with us. Or I will later put a link in the chat to see where there is an association. And if you're interested to become a member of that association. So Eugenio is here from AFM, the French association. Maybe Felicia, you are already a member. Noor is a member of VMBN in the Netherlands. Then we have an association in Croatia. There is a fledgling association in Bulgaria. There's one in Portugal. And maybe, Monique, you're a member of the Swiss organization? Maybe, yes. And Lotte, I can't see you. Would you put the name of your country behind your name, please? So with that being said, a very short introduction of eamba. Here in eamba Exchange, we want to share innovations and experiences to support each other as teachers and to make sure that we are encouraged in times when we might despair or have a difficult time, but also to learn from each other. The main thing is continuous learning. With this being said, I will turn over to, who will start? Will you start, John?
Okay, I'll
Yes?
start very briefly. Thank you very
Is
much
that
for
okay?
the introduction, Katerina, and good evening to everyone. It's really nice to be invited to this, and I hope that what we say will be of some interest to you. We're going to start with a meditation from Ruth on gratitude, which is one of the ones that we use in our program. And then Mike and Alison and I will do a presentation which will last about a half an hour, leaving, we hope, some time for question and discussion at the end. So that's all I'd like to say now, and I'll pass over to Ruth for a 10-minute meditation on gratitude. Thank you.
Thank you, John. So when you're ready, settle into a comfortable place with a straight back and have your eyes closed or open with a relaxed and soft focus. Take your time to ground your body on your chair and your feet on the earth beneath, to settle the mind in the body and the breath. Begin by bringing your attention to the feet beneath you and the building around you. Allow yourself to feel appreciation and gratitude. Being thankful that you have the good fortune of having this seat supporting you and this shelter protecting you. Directing your appreciation to the ground beneath you. This ground, this earth that supports and sustains us throughout our lives. Gratitude to this earth that gives life to all that grows in it. Feeling joy and appreciation for the trees and the plants, the animals and the birds, the seas and the marine life. Each of these an interconnected part of the whole. And now, directing your gratitude to your own body. Appreciation for the way in which your body nourishes and looks after you, and how it has done so throughout your life. How your body is a place where we feel love, happiness, joy. Perhaps you can sense the energy of your body, the life that is here, sensing its vitality, the heart beating, the whole body breathing. Appreciate how your body is made up of the food that you eat and the water that you drink. Appreciating your senses, enabling us to see, to hear, speak, smell, taste, and touch. Sensing your eyes that let you see everything around you. Sensing your ears that give you sound, music, laughter, the voices of those you love, the silence, the beautiful sounds of life. Sensing your nose to your lips and mouth, which all savour and nourish. Bring your attention now to your hands that hold and touch, and open and close, to the arms and shoulders that carry and hug and lift and stretch, to the legs and feet that transport you, walk, run and dance. Appreciate the clothes that keep us warm or cool, feeling gratitude to the plants or the animals that provided the materials. The people who made our clothes. Deep gratitude for the connectedness of the physical body to all the elements of life. And now, developing appreciation for our parents, our grandparents, and forebears, without whom we wouldn't be here, would not have this life. Appreciate however much they were able to give to us. Expanding this appreciation to all our family and friends and our loved ones. Thinking of the joy they bring us in our everyday lives. Now expand your appreciation, your gratitude, and your empathy towards all beings, recognizing how we are all interdependent, interconnected, that we walk on this earth together, breathing the same air, and how we all want to be happy. And now coming back to the breath, developing empathy and joy for your breath, for the flow of the breath as it enters and leaves. You do not own this breath. It is only yours for a moment. Appreciate this precious breath and the life that it gives you. Taking a long, deep breath and gently expanding the body, bringing empathy, appreciation, gratitude and joy into this moment. Thank you. I'll now pass you over to John.
Thank you very much, Ruth, for that opening meditation. So I'm going to share my screen and our presentation, which is about this partnership that we forged between the University of the Third Age and the Centre for Mindful Life Enhancement. I'll begin by just saying something briefly about CMLE and then pass to Alison for the U3A part. So our centre we formed 10 years ago now. It's based in Sheffield in the United Kingdom, and for over 10 years now we've been running courses, particularly in what's called Mindfulness-based life enhancement, which is a program I developed, an 8-week program, which, as the name says, is intended to really emphasize many of the positive sides of mindfulness and how it can help. And out of that, we developed a program in mindful well-being, and particularly in mindful aging. And these have been taken in person by over 1,000 people over the last 12 years, because it began before 2014. But we also run many one-off sessions around the city and beyond, really approaching as many people as might be interested, and providing activities which are all free to participants. And over the last 4 years, and particularly since lockdown took place in 2020, we've been doing more and more activities online, which include the program that we're going to talk about this evening. And I'd like now to pass to Alison to say a little bit about the U3A.
So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the U3A and how we are partners with CMLE. Many of you might have heard of University of the Third Age. There are organisations all over the world. In the UK, we call it U3A, not the University of the Third Age anymore. And this institution started in Toulouse in 1973. It started as an institution which would help people in later life access education, usually higher education, and potentially to reach qualifications. But in the UK, it's developed into something very different. In the UK, the U3A is still devoted really to retired people or people who are semi-retired, and everybody who is involved in U3A, including members and group leaders, are all involved in a process of shared learning. And that is that we recognise that there's many people who are retired who want to contribute to the education of others and the learning of others, as well as undertake their own learning at the same time. So we don't focus on learning which is directed towards formal qualifications, but towards self-fulfillment, enjoyment of life, and giving to others. Next slide, please, John. This is a map of all the U3As in the UK. You can see that there are over 1,020 small charities across the UK. Each one has its own set of rules and its own selection of activities there. And there are groups which cover so many different interests, everything from archaeology to Zentangle, with many different areas of interest in between, all delivered by volunteer members. None of it is charged for. Nobody makes any charge for anything that they deliver. And this has led to us having almost 430,000 members across the UK. Next slide, please, John. As part of the U3A community, in about 2020, around the time of the pandemic, we started to form an online community, which has just grown in strength since that time. Now we run a whole programme of events and different interest groups. And all these are still delivered by members who are volunteering their services, and that it's all free for everybody that wants to engage with it. And we had in 2024, 25,000 members who took part in online learning activity. Next slide, please, John. So I've been involved in online mindfulness and meditation at the U3A over this last year. And I've been through our records and have looked at our attendance figures. We've had well over 9,000 recorded individual attendances at mindfulness and meditation online events through the U3A platform. And in 2025 this year, we will be undertaking 3 separate 6-week courses. And on top of that, there'll be 12 monthly continuation events. So those are for people who have perhaps finished their 6-week course and then they want to carry on with their meditation practice. And then the team will run their 10th 6-week course this year. That's how many courses we've done. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alison. So the program that we run with U3A is based on the 5 Ways to Wellbeing, which was developed by the New Economics Foundation back in 2008. And you can see here the 5 ways to wellbeing, which they identified, and which have been widely used in organisations in Britain and beyond. So, for example, the National Health Service in Sheffield on the left there, the Sheffield Hallam University, where Mike and I both worked, and example there from Wales, and I've come across them in Ireland, New Zealand, and other countries. So it's clearly a framework which people find helpful. And what we did therefore is to develop a program of 6 sessions, 1 on each of those. And then the final one is the Full Monty. Now, you may have come across the film, The Full Monty, which came out about 20 years ago, which was based in Sheffield. And the Full Monty refers to everything. In the film, at the end of it, a number of people have become unemployed, to set themselves up as a group who basically strip down to everything. And so we thought that was a nice title for our final session, which is where we bring everything together. And what we're doing in the program is exploring how mindfulness and meditation can enhance these 5 ways to well-being. So we start from those, but then show how they can be developed like that. And this framework, which you'll have seen on the website there, shows the different things that we cover in each of the 5 sessions, where we're adding these into the existing framework developed by NEF, but bringing particularly this accent on mindfulness and meditation. And another reason why we've used this framework is because we found that people come to mindfulness from different angles. So some people want to maintain a strong and attentive mind, so they have the attention gateway. For some, it's wanting to strengthen connection with others, which has been shown to be one of the best ways to develop a good aging process. So they have the connection gateway. We find some people want to be active, want to stay physically fit, the active gateway. Some people want to contribute to the community, the giving gateway. And finally, some, not surprisingly in U3A, want to keep learning, lifelong learning. And what we've found is that whichever gateway people enter in, they then hopefully will become interested in the others and see the value of everything that's involved here. So our core team, 4 of us tonight, also Stephanie Dixon, and Nancy Taylor, who's a qualified yoga teacher. And we've been running the program now, we've run it 9 times, and we'll, as Alison said, the 10th will start in June. What we're going to do now is very briefly just draw 1 or 2 elements from each of those ways to well-being and explain why we think these are particularly relevant to mindful aging. So take notice, we'll look at a couple of things there. Then we'll look at connect, then being active, giving, keep learning, and the full Monty. And as you see, in each case, just picking out 1 or 2 elements that we want to explore a little further. So if I start with take notice, on the left of each of these slides are the advice of the New Economics Foundation. On the right there are the things that we particularly cover in the session. And I've accentuated beginner's mind in red because that is in many ways the core that links everything together that we do in the program. And we contrast it with the seasoned mind. Now, I'm sure you've come across the beginner's mind from Shunryo Suzuki, in which he contrasts it with the expert's mind. We, as I say, use this term, the seasoned mind, but basically saying the same thing. And the contrast is between the beginner's mind, which is open, challenging stereotypes, not having expectations, being open to all possibilities, and challenging the seasoned mind, which by contrast tends to be based on habits, some good, some bad, tried and tested routines, working to the principle, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, preferring stability to change and absorbing the stereotypes about aging, and having a fixed perspective on life. And what we're suggesting, as you age, it's very easy to build up a stronger and stronger seasoned mind, which becomes rigid. So you have ideas that you either have yourself or other people say it to you, take it easy at your age. Careful, you could hurt yourself. Leave it to others. Take the easy path. Aren't you too old for this? I have senior moments. Why not just relax? And we want to challenge all that and to say, no, we can continue with the beginner's mind. Another element in taking notice is savoring. We've drawn this particularly from Bryant and Veroff's work on savoring. When I first developed mindfulness-based life enhancement, on which this program builds, I made good use of a number of elements of positive psychology, including Bryant and Veroff's work on savoring. And we found this is a particularly good one to really emphasize to people the positive aspects of life at whatever age you are. So just as one example from that, fine-tuning your senses. The senses were mentioned in the opening meditation from Ruth, and we really suggest to people that part of the beginner's mind is to enhance, really fine-tune and develop your senses and make the most of them, which you can do whatever your physical condition is, wherever you are, you can always make use of your senses in this way. So I pass now to Mike to continue with Connect.
Thank you, John. Well, good evening, everyone. I'm going to be speaking about the Connect gateway and the Be Active gateway. So I will share my slides. And to start talking about self-care, I should say I'm grateful to David, who's with us tonight. He was my supervisor when, excuse me, I did the master's degree in mindfulness studies at Aberdeen University, and for my dissertation on mindful aging, I explored the various ways in which you could age well, and self-care was one of them, which became one of the key things and is very important. So if we explore this in more depth, there's a distinction between self-love, which is an internal feeling of valuing and accepting yourself, including your flaws, treating yourself with kindness and respect. But self-care really is about the specific activities you do to take care of your physical and mental health, particularly important as we age. For example, eating well, exercising, getting enough sleep, and managing stress and anxiety. And our whole program draws, amongst other things, from the 4 immeasurables: loving kindness, compassion, empathetic, joy, and equanimity. And as we know, these apply at all levels in the system, from self to friends and loved ones, the community, those we don't like, but everyone. And as the first meditation implied, all beings. So if we focus on compassion, compassion has a definition here from Choden, one of the monks that was my tutor, Professor Paul Gilbert. a sensitivity to suffering in self and others with a commitment to try to alleviate and prevent it. And I think self-care really is about having that sensitivity to what's not quite right in yourself and then doing something about it. And the framework that John presented provides a whole range of activities, ideas that can support this idea of self-care and caring for yourself. In our program, we touch on the neuroscience of mindfulness, particularly the vagus nerve, which is important for understanding really how the mind is connected to the body. And to enhance vagal tone, Berglund suggests that all these things that we do in mindfulness and meditation can contribute to well-being through enhancing the vagal tone. I pick out meditation, yoga, because we cover particularly mindful movement, Tai Chi and Qigong, savoring, as John has just mentioned. And then there are cold showers. I don't know whether in your country wild swimming has come in, but certainly it's become more and more common in the UK, and cold showers and wild swimming particularly have a positive impact. Mindful eating, chewing food well, probiotics and fasting, and singing and chanting, gargling, humming, laughter, and all these things, actually, things like singing in particular and swimming are available through some of our U3A branches. And we suggest that individuals participants taking our program, develop a self-care plan. And from our framework, you can pick these sorts of aspects out, particularly sleep and nutrition, exercise, maintaining that connection and social support. Many of the activities in our branches focus on types of hobbies, but you can pamper yourself, you can keep learning to keep your mind sharp, having the right attitude, processing your emotions, and in particular, having some form of spiritual practice, maybe through mindfulness. So if I take the next gateway, which is the Be Active gateway, these are some of the aspects that you can do to be active that we encourage. We come at this through mindful movement. I'm going to talk a little bit about mindful walking. Stephanie Dixon, who was mentioned, has a practice that she introduces on self-massage. And a lot of what we do is about somatic awareness, and particularly as we age, the importance of enhancing balance and preventing falls. So looking at mindful movement in nature, you wouldn't believe, but this is in Sheffield. You might know of Sheffield as an industrial city, but a third of Sheffield is actually in the Peak District National Park, one of the 15 national parks in the UK. And in the U3A, the Sheffield branch, which has over 3,000 members, there are 27 walking groups, and they've got these odd names. I don't expect you to understand them. Dippers. Well, dipper is a bird, but they drop into the occasional pub for a meal. Gannets, strollers. There's even a group that is German speaking. There's also cycling and e-bikes, but focusing on walking, which comes from the principle of exercise within our framework. Walking has all these benefits, as we know. For example, maintaining healthy weight, losing body fat. But it then goes on, it has powerful health and well-being impacts through trying to manage conditions like heart disease, stroke, blood pressure, cancer, type 2 diabetes, improving cardiovascular fitness, and so on, improves sleep. And of course, many of philosophers and scientists have used walking to enhance creativity. So we hope by encouraging people to do walking, it will improve health and well-being and increase life expectancy. So we can connect with nature, and this research group at the University of Derby developed this little framework called the 5 Pathways to Connection, and it links very much to all the aspects of mindfulness and meditation. John mentioned savoring, connecting with our senses, but in particular, slowing down and immersing yourself in the natural world. And you might have heard, I don't know in your country, of practices such as sense foraging and forest bathing. Appreciating the beauty of nature. Thinking about the emotional connection that you can have and develop with the natural world. Finding a sense of meaning and symbolism, and in particular the care that we need to do for the planet. With nature connection comes the understanding that we are all part of the natural world. So in summary, we advocate mindful walking, and in fact, for the last 9 years, I've been leading mindfulness guided walks for the Peak District National Park, where I'm a volunteer ranger. And here we don't go charging ahead, we slow down to appreciate the environment. We engage our senses. And we pay attention to the sensations of walking and breathing whilst maintaining a wider awareness. So those two gateways, connect and be active. And I now pass back to John.
Thank you, Mike. So we come to the fourth of our ways to well-being, giving, where we're concerned not only with giving to others, but also giving to ourselves. And we look at, in this, themes such as gratitude and generosity. It's known that the elder population in Britain, and I'm sure in all other countries, contributes immensely through voluntary work and other activities to the wider community. Random acts of kindness, and the one I'm going to look at briefly here, optimism and hope. And this is an example of us using research. We're all the time looking for research that's been done on aging, which can be helpful and be a guide to us and to others. And when we looked at this, particularly drawn to the research program, which was put in this book, Aging with Grace, looking at nuns who started back in the 1930s and did autobiographical sketches of themselves. And if you haven't come across it, it's worth looking at. 70 years later, these autobiographies, sketches, were analysed by psychologists who wanted to see how they would relate to longevity. And what they found was that the journal entries of those who had more positive content lived nearly 10 years longer than the nuns whose entries were more negative or neutral. So having an optimistic view of life can make a big difference. 10 years is a long time when you're my age, and I intend to have it. So putting effort into becoming happier will not only make you feel better, it has the potential to literally prolong your life. So this is the sort of research that we're drawn to encourage people to think about these aspects of their life. And it links, of course, to hope. So Matthieu Ricard, who I'm sure you've come across, defines it as the conviction that you can attain your goals and develop the motivation necessary to do so. And it's been shown, as he says, that this improves people's performance in many different ways. We're also very drawn again to the work of Joanna Macy, and we've introduced this briefly into the programme. Her contrast between passive hope, waiting for external agencies to bring about what we desire, and active hope, becoming active participants in bringing about what we hope for. And we explore with people the work that reconnects. So then we have the final one, keep learning. And as you can see, we include in this mindful learning, we draw here on the work of Ellen Langer from Harvard University, and also Carol Dweck's work on the growth mindset. But one of the things I'd like to particularly highlight here is challenging stereotypes, because sadly, there are still many stereotypes of aging. 45 years ago, I put together with colleagues in Newcastle this booklet on Against Ageism. And the sad reality is that much of what we said in that still applies today. The way in which being old is seen as the recipe for ageism, for comedy. This little article here, this letter, appeared last month in the Radio Times here in Britain, criticising the radio programme for the ageist stereotypes that it included. And as it says, the BBC would no longer condone jokes based on gender, ethnicity, or religion, so why is it okay to ridicule the elderly? And the reality is that there's a self-stereotyping goes on as we age. So because society holds ageist stereotypes, we come to accept them and internalize them and then act them out. And when older people are seen behaving in accordance with these stereotypes, it reinforces the belief that they're there. And we start developing these stereotypes when we're not old, but by the time we're old, we're into self-stereotyping. So we suggest let's challenge that. And the research shows that up to about 1900, there tended to be positive age stereotypes. Since then, they've become more and more negative as we went through the 20th century into the 21st. Some aspects we do know. There are, research shows there are some issues where we do have increasing difficulties as we age, but far fewer than tend to be seen in conventional research. So it needs to be challenged. And one of the things we stress to people here, the benefit of mindfulness and meditation, that there are a number of studies. This is just one to quote from. We quote others in the program, where meditation is shown, as it says here, to reduce the cognitive decline associated with normal aging. So we can challenge some of those things that otherwise might happen. And again, we challenge, this is just a joke one, we're using Snakes and Ladders program, all these different things that we're told that this is how we should behave. We're too old to do things, let's take it easy. And then in our final session, we have the full Monty. And what we're particularly concerned with here is bringing it all together and then looking at an enhancing practice. So one of the meditations that we introduce here is the Celebration Tree of Life, where we bring together many of the aspects that we've looked at in the program, coming from the 4 immeasurables, from positive psychology, from other areas, and weaving them all together. And then showing people that the journey doesn't stop there. So we have this website, which we've set up, which has a page for each of the 6 sessions, as you can see. And on each of these pages, this is just an example from the first one, we have videos of the presentations that we do in the sessions, which the sessions incidentally last about 75 minutes each time. We have meditations that we've recorded. We have documents that take it further. And on the right there, we have a system where they can simply repeat the session whenever they wish. And in terms of going further, we recommend people, obviously, to keep practicing and to keep learning. But we also have an online mindful aging course. We encourage them to start local U3A groups, and we know already several have done this. And we have continuation sessions. So beginning 2 years ago, we have a monthly session where we take one of the things that we've introduced during the program and develop it further. And these are the examples of what we've done so far. As you can see, we've had 24 of these already. And one of the things we're doing is responding to the suggestions of people who come along to these. We regularly get 100, 120 people to each of these. So the most recent one was on anxiety at the recommendation and request of one of the people involved. And this month, we'll be looking at loneliness, another issue that was raised by a member of the community. So they're the examples that we've tried to go through very quickly and introduce some of the ideas and suggestions. What about feedback? We get regular feedback from every session from the U3A, and we get a lot of positive feedback and also suggestions that we then can pick up on. We've also done some research of our own, particularly after the second series that we ran. These are the sort of things that people said they benefited from the series. And as you can see, they include many of the issues that we've looked at today, such as addressing aging stereotypes. These are more examples. As you see again, the beginner's mind is something that strikes home to people. And we, of course, make use of Mary Oliver's wonderful poem, the last line of it about what will you do with your one wild and precious life? And we've asked people what were the 3 biggest takeaways from the series. And you can see the sort of things that people have said to us, the things that they've taken from the program. We asked how they benefited from the series. And you can see, again, many positive things that people have explored and fed back to us. And in terms of comments, well, pretty positive, as you can see. So our conclusion, and the conclusion of the many people who've joined our program, is that mindfulness meditation can help us to age well. And I'd like to stop there and thank you for listening, and pleased to say we still have 10 minutes or so left for any question or comment that you may have. Thank you very much. Back to you, Katerina, I think.
So thank you, dear colleagues. This, for me, was just a wonderful presentation. Got a lot of ideas, and also the way in which you presented it very much touched me. I am aware that we said we would stop at 8. So yes, John, that is officially 10 minutes. But if we go over time because people want to stay and ask more questions or bring their own experience, that is quite okay. I'm now inviting people to share or to ask questions, whatever you want. You can share your own experience, but you can also ask questions about the program, and maybe ask for the name of who you want to respond.
Is it okay if to mention something?
Go ahead.
Yes. So I have a question, but I would like to thank you all for this beautiful work. I just had some words that's been written here. I was sitting on the tip of my cushion, so eager to hear more and more. I have a medical background, and honestly, when I listened to some of the content, I thought this is preventive medicine while we are aging. Amazing, really amazing, and well done. Well done. Many topics really are topics that we see within medicine and elderly. So thank you for that. Thanking you for highlighting that. And something that I would like to ask, I understood it's free of charge. So I was wondering if it's offered free of charge, how is the commitment? Do people really come, show up? They come regularly, and do they do their, let's say, home practice? So was it okay to tell me more about that? Thank you. And sorry for my English.
Well, no, that's very good. I wish I could speak other languages the way you speak English. Yes, I mean, when we started the Centre for Mindful Life Enhancement, one of our basic statements was that we would never take any money individually from anything that we do, and we would make all our programs free of charge. And that worked well, and it's continued to work well, whether it was on the programs we do in person or the programs that we do online. They're open to everyone, and all the resources are free. It costs us money to run the programs, obviously the website and such, and we've occasionally done mindfulness courses for organizations who had some money, who could pay us some money. And we've also raised money by simply putting out an appeal for money. We did that several years ago, but it doesn't cost us too much to run it. And that means that it can be open. And to me, it's a really important principle that mindfulness and meditation are things that I want to offer people free. I'm not, rather than charging. And it's worked well. I hope that helps, answers.
Yes, certainly. It made it clear to me. So, but listening to that, the commitment of the participants was, let's say, they show up, and you didn't see any impact on the participants for their enthusiasm to participate.
No, I mean, certainly it's harder to gauge that with online programs, but certainly we found in the 14 years that I've been teaching in person in Sheffield and elsewhere, the commitment has been very strong. And if you start with a program of, say, 16 people, there will be usually 13 or 14 of them will go through the entire program. People obviously fall out for various things, and the reality is, as you age, there are things that can happen, like urgent hospital appointments and things like that. And that's one of the reasons why we put all the material online, so that if people have to miss a session, they can access it that way. It's not as good as doing it live, but all the material is there so that they can access it and make use of it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I come in there and say something else as well? Is I think that level of commitment is really high. That the most people who do sign up for the 6-week course, they do tend to make it towards the end of the course. And we also have it open so that people can come and sign up halfway. It's not that you have to have done all the sessions as well. So it's open right to the end of the course. And we have seen that we have an exceptionally high number of people who've repeated the course, who have maybe missed a session first time or 2 sessions and then come round and done it a second time. And a very high percentage of people who then move on and go to the continuation sessions, which are less regular, but then they can take part in that and continue their practice as well. And at the office, I do get regular emails from people asking for the link to the materials that are on the website. So we do know that the people are making use of them and trying things in their own time as well.
Thanks, Alison.
Thank you.
Thank you. With the number of people that have participated in your programs and in the free online sessions, I wonder what percentage of Sheffield has come in touch with you, and whether that is also something that spills over, that people tell each other, and that maybe even it spills over to other age groups.
Yes, well, what we've done in Sheffield, of course, we started off not specifically about aging, but open to everyone. And what actually happened was that I started doing programs in Sheffield Hallam University, which is where I used to work full time, for staff, because they expressed an interest in it. By the time I'd finished the first course of 16 people, I had more than 16 others who wanted to do it. So I done a second one. by the time that finished, I had the number to do the third. And then what happened was that they started coming and saying, well, could my friends do it? I know people outside the university, and fortunately, the university was very supportive and made it possible to do that. So it gradually widened and became part of the, like the community access of the university. And then we also started running them in other places around the city and beyond the city. And what we found is very similar in terms of this program on aging, that what's happening is that people in the many hundreds of U3As around the country, they start to tell each other and they pass on the message, and then other people can join. And of course, the way the U3 is set up, it's very easy for people to access the information and to join. And so you have that ripple effect. People tell people tell people. And that's, I think, why every one of the 9 times that we've run these sessions, we've had well over 100 people coming along to every single session.
Did we lose Mike? You know what happened?
Oh, I'm not sure.
Mike, are you still here?
He may reappear. Maybe,
No.
maybe
Okay, we'll wait for him. So let me see, there is a message in, no, that is not a question. Dear colleagues, other questions and remarks?
There is a question from Monique, I think.
Okay, Monique, please.
Sorry, I couldn't find the virtual hand. I couldn't find, but okay. So thank you for the presentation. It's really so nice. I just wanted to mention, because I'm also a specialist in positive psychology, and about when you were mentioning sense foraging. I guess you are aware of the book by Zintel Segal and Norman Farb, the book named Better in Every Sense. Better in Every Sense, it was published in January last year. I created a workshop based on this book with many exercises. It's really amazing how you can not only have more peace when you are stressed, but also you can open creativity. And even for aging, I mean, if you have a problem of seeing, you can still hear, you can still savor with other senses. So indeed, I think savoring is so important. And I would like to mention also about hope and optimism also in aging people. Why not? Yes, indeed. It's the essence of life. And there is a wonderful book which my daughter is translating the book so that we can use it in French in our area. And this book is named Learn Hopefulness by Dr. Dan Tomasulo. And it contains a lot of exercises that you can use, really. So if you want to expand on hope and optimism, this book, Learn Hopefulness by Dr. Dan Tomasulo, is really a nice reference as well. Yes.
All right, thank you very much for that. I haven't come across that book. Certainly come across the other book on foraging. In fact, he was one of the speakers at the conference in Manchester in October, where we were presented with the Innovations in Mindfulness Award. And we used one of his, used that book as the basis of one of our continuation sessions, which people found very helpful. And certainly sense foraging builds very nicely on the work of Bryant and Veroff. Yeah, so thank you very much for those suggestions.
Great, Monique. Wonderful. And do you also apply your insights with this age group, or was this general information about positive psychology?
No,
or do you work with the age group?
Actually, it's true. Since last fall, I'm really teaching a program named Mindfulness-based Cognitive Approach for Seniors. But actually, the reference book for teacher, Eugenio is also teaching the same one, like me.
Yes, the one from Claude Maskens.
Yeah, exactly. So it's amazing. But previously to that, because I'm also a teacher, a teacher of the Mindful Self-Compassion program by Professor Christine Neff and Christopher Germer. So in the last fall, I used it also for seniors, the short version in 6 times 1 hour and 15 minutes. And the basis was really self-confidence. So it was really helpful, very effective. And then it also gave to these participants a taste. I mean, in the group, 2 of them, they stayed on then for the MBCAS program. And presently we have 7 participants, and it's nice. We have it over 8 months, so it's quite long. But it's very good because we can go in depth with many aspects of mindfulness. A bit not totally similar to the work done by you with the life and enhancement program, but some points really are similar as well.
Thank you. We must keep in touch.
Monique, could you put a reference to your program and the one that Claude publishes in the chat for the community here to share, if you have it?
You mean the reference of the MBCS?
Yes.
But I think it's only in French, to my knowledge, I think.
Oh, well, never mind.
Yeah.
It's about the resources.
Yeah, but
language is not rocket science.
Yes. But also, are you aware of the work by Lucia McBee?
Yes, sure.
Yeah, because she's...
Jenny already put the link there.
Oh, thank
So
you.
Lucia McBee actually is part of the Mindfulness World community, where we also have a group on aging and mindfulness.
Oh, that will be very nice. Yes, indeed. Yes.
Well, if you're interested, I will send you an invitation. Then please send your email address to me in a private chat.
Okay. Yes.
Let me send one to you. Anyone else who wants to share experiences or ask something?
One last question from my part. So this is for the...
Please, whose name? Because I can't see you.
It's Noor. Het is Noor, Katharina. Ik ben het.
Sure. Okay, good.
Yes.
Go
So,
ahead.
yeah. The content and the experience is really precious. And I was wondering if you have been approached by European colleagues who would like to set up such a program, but in the languages of the countries where they come from.
We haven't been approached. We have been approached by people in New Zealand and Australia who are interested, and obviously they don't have a translation issue. And what we've said is that all the material is there, and if they want to take it further, we'll help them to do that. We'd be very open to looking at it being done in other languages. So I think the messages that we're conveying are universal, and so we'd be very happy to collaborate with anyone who's interested in drawing on the material. They don't necessarily have to do the exact same thing. We're not precious about it, but we do think that taking this sort of positive perspective on aging is something that should be open to everyone. And so we'd be very happy to collaborate.
Thank you, John. Actually, this is the main reason why eamba features this program, because we think that it is very valuable and it should have more visibility, and that maybe this could lead to interest from colleagues to disseminate it in a wider circle. So This will be shared on the eamba YouTube channel, and we will list it on a post and in the newsletters to make really sure that colleagues can see this and that they can benefit from your valuable work.
Thank you. Thank you.
Here is Eugenio. Maybe you would like to speak up, Eugenio, because
Yeah,
as Monique said, you also have experience in this. So maybe share yours.
I have nothing to say of value because I think it's amazing when I listen to the program and it's so much aligned with this other program that we run in French-speaking countries in Belgium, Switzerland, and France. This over 8 months that Monique was talking about. I think I'm just grateful for this, and I recognize some shared stuff that there is no objective other than mindful aging well. So it's I recognize a lot of themes and stuff, and yeah. So thank you a lot. I just shared an article about this MBCAS 8 months program, which I've gone. There's been a lot of studies on this, and yeah, thank you very much.
Oh, thank you very much for the reference. Certainly follow that up. But as you say, and as I was saying, I think these things they're universal, and they apply whatever country you are in, whatever language you're in. I think the advantage, one of the advantages we have is that we are in the group that we're talking to. You know, we're experiencing exactly what everyone else in this is experiencing, and it's first person experience, as Francesco Varela used to say. And I think that's exactly what it is, first person experience.
So thank you also for the resources. For all of us here, I will put the resources on the post that was the post that announced this event. So, and also the link to the recording. So to have time and go into this, you will find it there.
Okay.
If you're interested in the Mindfulness World community that has a group on mindfulness and aging, then put your email address in a private chat to me, and I will make sure that you get an invitation to participate there. For now, anyone else who would like to share an experience or to ask a question or come up with a suggestion or any idea? Not that we are not grateful for what you already have contributed, but this is the last chance, last opportunity, sorry.
Apologies, my internet completely disappeared.
Yeah, you're back. Yes. But can I see you? No.
Oh, I can see.
Yes.
Mike,
did you change your name? Oh, no,
like
you
to
probably
thank you all
CMLE. Yes. Found you. Because now you have a different name.
Yeah.
You had the name that you had before. Welcome back, Mike. So we continued with some interactions, some contributions from the participants on your program and things that people do where they are. Let me see. No, that's not a question in the chat. That's a thank you from Theodora for sharing wisdom, experience, and amazing resources on the valuable program. So, compliments for Ruth, Mike, Alison, and John. So with this, if there are no more questions, we can count. Do you see any other hands raised? No?
No, I think we're ready.
No, none. Dear colleagues, thank you very much. This is an amazing thing that you're doing, and I feel the energy that you have. So obviously it's also working for you personally. And as we are here, some of us are in the age group and we know it works, and it's good to share. I also am very appreciative of your business model, because very often we think that if it's for free, it's not valuable and it's not appreciated. Now you are proving the opposite. Maybe that is encouraging for people who can afford to offer their experience and the teaching for free, because the ones who are here in this group, not all of us can afford this. So other than being in this age group, we are also very lucky to be able to afford that we can share with other people without them having to pay. And it works. So with this being said, thank you very much. I hope to see you again very soon, and we'll make sure that you get invitations to a eamba exchange.
Well, thank you very
Good
much,
evening.
Katerina,
Thank you.
for
I think
hosting
I
it.
will unpin you so we can say goodbye to each other and see each other.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Bye,
Thank you
everyone.
very
Bye.
much.
Enjoy your evening.
Bye,
Thank
everyone.
you
Thank
so much for
you.
Bye-bye.
having
Thank you
us.
so much.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye now.
Bye.
Bye.
So John, Ruth, Mike, Alison, thank you very much.
Well, it's
Just
been a
over
pleasure.
technical
Thank you
things.
very much for inviting